So the incidence is somewhere around 1 in 10,000. The common sites are being dorsal and lumbar. One half fails to develop. Pedicle, obviously, one aspect of the pedicle posterior elements is also missing, and it's not a supernumerary vertebrae rather than an underdeveloped innate vertebrae. All right. So this is what you have to understand. This is not something that was additionally there. This was something which was supposed to be there but did not develop, and is the most common cause for congenital scoliosis. All right. So something similar that we are looking at, we do see that there is a vertebrae which is trying to place itself in between this D11 and D12. We are not able to see the other side at all, so it's not a wedge, but it's a hemivertebrae. All right, we do see the pedicle of this side also. And there is a curvature change associated, seems like a fully segmented vertebrae. Then we look over here, we do see that the space in between these two vertebrae seems to be lost. All right. So we are not able to appreciate the space in between these two vertebral bodies. So it looks like a block vertebrae. One thing again, they all try and coexist. Right? Whenever you see a hemi, please scan the entire spine. Everything might be everywhere, or there might be nothing everywhere except for it. But they have a tendency to coexist, all the vertebral segmentation abnormalities. So when you see one, either you should advise X-rays. I personally do not like X-rays. So yeah, maybe CT is something. If patient is obviously younger, then you should go ahead with the X-rays, right? Block vertebrae, pedicles are seen. Yes, pedicles will be seen. It's not a formation abnormality, it is a segmentation abnormality. Everything of the vertebral bodies is there. The thing is that they have not been able to separate themselves, segment themselves, right? So the name gives you your answer that the segmentation abnormality, they will not able to separate and they're fused together. Every part of them is present, right? Okay. So moving ahead, let's go ahead. Okay. So something like this, when bar vertebrae is coexistent with a hemivertebrae. Can you spot all these three? Like this is the 12th rib attaching, so this is a D12. All right, you should count also because they might be having rib disorders as well, rib abnormalities as well. And also on radiographic correlation might be difficult at times. So don't force yourself if you're not able to figure it out. You should try and figure it out in different scans, and maybe CT is a very good modality, I would say. All right, but over here, suppose, so this one is like a D12, 11, 10, 9, even the above it, this 8, all these are looking abnormal. What we are seeing is these parts are not very well visualized. The pedicles and the left lateral aspect of the bodies are not very well visualized. There seem to be a contiguous structure which gives us the appearance of a bar. And the other side, only the wedge processes are seen, and in intermediate space, we are seeing a lucency. When you see something like this, you should always think of that there is a bar which is coexistent with a hemivertebrae and not a bar with a normal vertebrae. Why? Because you're able to appreciate a lucency which is intermediate, right? So that happens only in the hemivertebrae. So that one part developed into hemivertebrae and the other part evolved into a fusion bar. Right. So in the hybrid abnormalities, when you see something like that, then it is a hybrid abnormality. Otherwise, in a normal a bar vertebrae, you will be able to see this bar, and this should have been contiguous. This should have been very continuous with the other right lateral aspect of the vertebrae, so that this lucency should not have been visualized. There's something called balanced and unbalanced. All right. So the balanced and unbalanced is an interesting concept that when you see hemivertebrae arranged on either side, so it's like a compensatory mechanism developed by God. You see a hemivertebrae on one side, which is causing curvature scoliosis, and you see supposedly maybe a dextroscoliosis. Then you see another hemivertebrae onto the right side, which is causing levoscoliosis. So both of them are trying to together that a minus and a minus is a plus. So they are trying to compensate the curvature of the column. So although the patient is having both dextro and levo, but the curvatures are trying to center themselves. The center of gravity is trying to shift itself into the center, and thus it is leading to a balanced pattern of segmentation abnormality. All right. So balanced is in which the main curvature is relatively normal. The partially balanced is where there is some element of the curvature issue, either one-sided right or left, but not that severe. And unbalanced is something which is obviously very, very significant. All right. There is also another concept that when there are less than 5 normal vertebrae in between the 2 hemivertebrae, then it leads to compensation. And when there are more number of normal vertebrae in between the two, so then it leads to decompensation because the curvature compensation reduces. So different thing, different concepts, but yes, this is what it is. I mean, when you see balanced, so a vertebrae, 2 vertebrae contralaterally situated, right and left, leading to 2 kinds of scoliosis, which are trying to put the gravity into the center. That is what you call a balanced hemivertebrae. Yes, you can put it in reports when you're seeing something like that. All right. And if you can go ahead and do the counting, suppose 2 contralateral vertebrae, but a lot of normal vertebrae in between, like 5 or 6 normal vertebrae in between. And then when you see that the center of the gravity is shifting onto one side, then that means it is not a balanced, even though they're situated onto the opposite sides. Moving ahead. So now this is something else. This is what do you think the vertebrae is? You can spot the abnormality and please tell me what the abnormality looks like. This is an easy one, right? Very good. So that's a butterfly vertebrae. Why butterfly? You see, you can give it an appearance of 2 separate wings, 2 wings, right? And a central lucency, 2 wings and a central lucency. Over here, look at this vertebrae, 2 separate wings and a central lucency, right? Or a central dip. You might not necessarily appreciate a complete central lucency. You might see that they might be connected by a small central osseous dot-like structure or maybe a thin bar-like structure, but the dips are just like that. They are wedging centrally and trying to meet in the center. They might not be meeting at all. In either of the case, it's a butterfly vertebrae. All right. So yes, it's a thoracic vertebrae, thoracic butterfly vertebrae. Very good. So the thing with the thoracic vertebrae is the clefting part. All right. So when we have understood all of these formation embryologically, right? The dermatome and everything, and they were trying to come up together and trying to meet in the center. So when you look over here, that's the sclerotome. Overlying is the dermatomyotome. Now the vertebral bodies of the 2 lateral aspects, right? So that cartilaginous and the ossification centers, they tried to come and meet in the center. That's what they are supposed to do. They are supposed to fuse in center, right? But they were not able to do so. They were not able to fuse with each other, and there is a remnant notochord tissue which looks lucent when you are seeing it on radiographs or CT, and that gives it the look of a hemivertebrae. So 2 hemivertebrae on 2 sides separated by a lucency is what is a butterfly vertebrae. Also, there is because of the overgrowth of the above and the below vertebrae, and because of the lack of the central aspect, there is a wedging component, interior wedging component, which is commonly seen with them, and also a curvature abnormality, which is like a kyphoscoliotic component. Okay. We have discussed all of the rest of the tissue, how paraxial mesoderm, somatic formation, differentiation into sclerodermal myotome. So that's like a axial view, and the coronal view, that's how it looks like. It gets differentiated. The central part is the notochord, and that's the sclerotome. The sclerotome was supposed to get together and fuse, but it could not. The commonest site is in general is a thoracic column, and they are associated with kyphoscoliotic abnormalities. Something like this. This is what you are talking about. So this particular one, again, you see the cleft. You see that the superior aspect and is dipping inside and trying to meet in the center. And they ultimately meet also formed by a small focus osseous changes. But still it does not changes it. Still it will be called as a butterfly vertebrae. And on sagittal views, it might look like this. Look at this pattern. Look at this wedging, interior wedging. Associated dysplasias, associated wedging of the adjacent vertebral bodies is also possible. One, and multiple levels, multiple contiguous level involvement is also possible